Is the Wii U doomed? That seems to be a popular topic. To me, the Wii U is in a state of Schrodinger's cat. What is Schrodinger's cat, you may ask? In 1935, Austrian physicist Erwin Schrodinger saw a problem with the Copenhagen interpretation of quantum mechanics applied to everyday objects, resulting in contradictions with common sense. So he proposed that a cat sealed in a box with a vial of poison that will break at any point in time and kill the cat will render the cat in a state of both alive and dead. And by opening the box, that's the only way to verify the state the cat is in. Don't worry, this was an imaginary experiment, they didn't actually do this. But if you look at the Wii U's poor sales and lack of library, the outlook does not look good. But it's still too early to tell. So you can see where I'm coming from when I bring up Schrodinger's cat. And I ask that you hold your comments until the end of the video, because I will first talk about and give reasons as to why I think the Wii U may be doomed, but then I will talk about why it may succeed. In my top 10 best consoles video, I put the Wii U as my number 1 runner-up. It probably would have been number 3 on the main list, which would cause the PS3 and 360 to tie at number 2. However, I left it as a runner-up because it was too early to tell, and it's still too early to tell. Now, I'm not jumping on the Nintendo is doomed bandwagon. I do not hate Nintendo or anything, but it's obvious that Nintendo is mishandling things. In my opinion, they've been making a series of small mistakes that have been snowballing. In fact, they've made similar mistakes that Sega made that caused them to go third party. And you know that they're making mistakes, as some hardcore Nintendo fans have told me they feel that Nintendo is making some serious mistakes. Let's look at the Wii first, a system that sold millions and was wildly popular. But for what reasons? It was the motion controls. They were the next big thing. Or so we thought. The gimmick wore off pretty quickly and wasn't received well at all, especially when Microsoft and Sony tried their hand at it. Most gamers hate motion controls when they turned out not to be everything they hoped to be. This does not mean that motion controls are or were bad. I believe that this is a case of high expectations that were not met. I personally like motion controls. I had fun with the Wii, the PlayStation Move, and the Kinect. But I don't think that developers and publishers see motion controls as a wise investment. I had said that Nintendo has made similar mistakes that Sega has. The Sega Saturn was a system that was very difficult to develop for, and from what I read, the development manual for the Saturn was enormous. The Saturn had powerful hardware, but its difficulty to make games for shunned third parties, driving people into the arms of the PlayStation, which was significantly easier to develop for. With gamers reacting negatively to motion controls or just not caring about them as the novelty wore off, the Wii, whose whole purpose was motion controls, was left behind on that aspect. But games could still be developed for it without motion controls. However, third parties wanted powerful hardware to develop on because it allowed them to push the limits of what games could do and let their imaginations run wild. And for that, they needed powerful hardware to handle all that complexity. The perfect example is Dead Rising vs. Dead Rising Chop Till You Drop. In Chop Till You Drop, the mall is a lot smaller, there are survivors missing, and because of the limited hardware capabilities, the Wii U could only render about 100 zombies on screen as opposed to the 360 version, which could render 800 zombies at a time. A lot of third-party developers shunned the Wii because the hardware was essentially obsolete and wouldn't be able to keep up with the PS3 and 360. A lot of third-party Wii games were garbage, or if they were ports from the 360 and PS3, they were shells of their former selves. But their first-party games were good, what little there were of. The point I'm making here is that even though the first-party games are good, the console was shunned due to hardware limitations by good third parties, as AAA titles wouldn't go to the Wii unless Nintendo made them. Granted, some really good AAA titles from third parties went to the Wii U, but it was rare. So now we're going to look at the Dreamcast, a system that was released too early, and because developers and consumers were still put off because of the Saturn's failure, they were wary of the Dreamcast, and with the PS1 being the huge success it was, paved the way for the PS2, which was an 18-wheeler smashing into the Miata that was the Dreamcast. The same thing is happening with the Wii U. Some publishers have already come out and expressed their feelings about it. Ubisoft has stated that they won't make Wii U exclusives until sales improve. EA said that the system sucks, but then backpedaled and said that they were going to dial back support for the console and had no games in development for it. Bethesda said that if the games they're making are compatible with the Wii U's hardware, then they'll release it to that system, which sounds like a very fancy way of saying no. Activision said they would do everything to support the system, but it doesn't look like they're doing much. Some people have said that you have to give the Wii U some time. Well, given the fact that we have the PS4 and Xbox One on the horizon, the Wii U could very well be on borrowed time. People were saying to give the Dreamcast some time, and look what happened. Shortly after the PS2 was released, Sega dropped support for it and went third party. I'm not saying that Nintendo will go third party, but if by some chance they drop out of the home console market, they're going to focus on portable hardware and games where they clearly dominate. In Nintendo's hubris, they released the Wii U too early, thinking that it would sell like the Wii. No one was ready for the system, not even Nintendo was ready, as they hardly have any games for it that are out now. A majority of the games that launched with the Wii U are games that have already been out on other systems and are games people have already played. And since the Wii U's launch, nothing system selling has come out. And that's what the Wii U needs. It needs some strong system selling games, not this stuff we've played already. When I talked about Sonic Lost World, I had said that I think it'll be a good game, but it'll fail financially because of its Wii U exclusivity and that it should be on all systems. One person said that I shouldn't say that I hope the Wii U succeeds, but want, and I'm quoting them here, a promising exclusive title to go to other systems. I don't think that I should have to say this, but apparently I do. I am not going to bet the farm on a Sonic game to sell a system anymore. I thought that would be common sense by now. Yeah, Sonic has gotten a lot better with recent games, but thinking that Sonic Lost World is going to push Wii U sales, that's like betting your life savings on your favorite racehorse just after it had a cast removed after breaking its leg. It's not a good idea. I would trust Bayonetta 2 to sell Wii U systems. I would trust Rayman Legends to sell Wii U systems if it was still exclusive to it. Rayman Legends should have been a launch title for the Wii U. Ubisoft should not have delayed it just to release it simultaneously with a PS3, 360, and PC version. The Wii U version was ready to go, and delaying it for 10 months was foolish. And of course, I trust Smash Bros. Wii U to really sell the system. If anything, that game will save the Wii U. But Nintendo also needs to release some AAA titles from intellectual properties they've been ignoring, like Metroid, F-Zero, which is a series that we haven't seen since the GameCube, and Star Fox. And not just remakes or HD re-releases like the Wind Waker HD, which brings me to another point. Nintendo needs to stop throwing Mario and Zelda at us. We're tired of it. Give us something new from your other IPs. I want another Metroid Prime game. How about a Kid Icarus that's not on a handheld? Or a brand new Star Fox, something that people would consider a true sequel to Star Fox 64, which was a remake of the original Star Fox on the SNES. If Nintendo announced a new Metroid or Star Fox, gamers would do backflips in happiness. I understand that Mario and Zelda are popular titles, especially in Japan, and that while Metroid, Star Fox, and F-Zero are popular titles in the US, they're not that popular in Japan. And with Nintendo bombarding us with Mario and Zelda titles, I can't help but feel that they're only catering to the Japanese market while ignoring other markets where games from their other IPs would see great success. They should have had titles like a successor to Mario Galaxy already lined up for launch, or a new Star Fox, or a new Metroid Prime game. You know, game series that people have been asking Nintendo to make new games for a long time now. If Nintendo had planned a lineup of games from their other IPs like Star Fox or Metroid, I think that the Wii U would be selling and selling well. But because they didn't have a lineup of system-selling games, I wonder what they were thinking when they went to release this, because in essence they released a system with no games. While there are a lot of similar patterns going on that happened during the Wii's lifespan that pretty much caused developers to shun it, the Wii U is a very promising system, but it needs more of its own first-party IPs to survive. Think about it. Why did people buy the PS3? For Uncharted, Resistance, Ratchet and Clank, The Last of Us, God of War, Sly Cooper, and Infamous. All that good first-party stuff. But enough for the negative outlook and ways Nintendo can improve the Wii U's dreadful sales. Now I'm going to talk about why the Wii U will succeed. Nintendo makes some of the best first-party games. It's just a matter of them needing to start churning them out more and not spam us with Mario and Zelda games, and definitely not shove Mario-themed sports games down our throats. I'm glad that we can agree that Mario and Zelda are good games, but you can have too much of a good thing. So we do have a possible Metroid, Star Fox, and F-Zero games coming. After all, Pikmin 3 was just released. Also, the Wii U is a very innovative system. The touchscreen in the controller is an awesome idea, and I enjoyed the Rayman Legends demo that took advantage of the touchscreen for some interesting ways to play. I like that you could play the new Super Mario Bros. U on the gamepad itself. Unfortunately, not all games can do this. Nintendo is also opening up the doors to indie gaming development with the Wii U, so we should see some unique games taking advantage of what the system has to offer. And indie games have been a good source of gaming as they bring fresh and new ideas to the industry. And if the Wii U gets some really good exclusive indie titles, that will definitely help. The Wii U has a lot of untapped potential, and Nintendo needs to make a game that will blow everyone out of the water and show the Wii U's true potential. I'm pretty optimistic that Nintendo will release a game that will be so awesome that it'll make everyone want to develop for it and make people want to buy it. But they need to release more than one game like that. And we have to remember that the PS3 had an extremely rough launch, probably one of the roughest in gaming history. It was so bad that Sony had to sell the system on future potential. And the Xbox One's reveal was the worst received because it undid all the things that made the 360 successful. But things changed. Microsoft undid all their stupid policies. Nintendo is trying to win back the hardcore gaming crowd, and while games that appeal to that crowd that were released on the Wii U are games that have been released on the PS3, 360, and PC, it's a step in the right direction that Nintendo is taking to try and shed that kid-friendly image that they painted themselves with during the Wii days. While Nintendo has made some mistakes in the past that caused them to fall behind in the home system market, they seem to be taking steps to correct them. So you can see where I'm coming from when I refer to the Wii U being in a Schrodinger's cat state. The Wii U has a lot riding against it at the moment, and the outlook for Nintendo doesn't look good. But Nintendo has become the little engine that could. They lasted against 3 generations of Sony systems and 2 Microsoft systems, and regardless of the crap that gets put onto Nintendo systems, they always come out smelling like a rose. And in a later video, I'm going to talk about my thoughts on the entire 8th generation of systems. 8th generation